Oh my Lord.
We made it. The car ran out of gas on the way to the studio.
Always does. Always does.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you miss us? Probably not. There's so much consumable Bills content out there right now. Nobody missed us, Paul.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
Well, I did want to start the show. Obviously, you guys can catch us on all of our socials and our link tree and all that stuff. But I wanted to start the show. 12 grinding years of doing this together.
Yeah.
We decided to take a step back and just absorb a lot of the stuff that's going on with the Buffalo Bills in the NFL as fans once again, because we're always in content creator mode. So it was good to just take a step back and relax, have some fun, watch like you guys all do, and just kind of recharge the battery a little bit. And now we're ready to get season 13 started, Paul.
I can't believe it. Lucky 13, baby. Maybe the Bills win the chip this year.
Maybe I mean, it's looking good. I mean, guys, today's episode, we're going to be talking about the roster. We're going to be talking about James Cook, and we're going to borrow something from our friends over at Buffalo Fanatics. So we're going to go through something and have a little fun game with that. But Paul, how have you been for the past 2 months?
Oh, dude, dad of 3, like it's tough. It's tough out there, guys. No, I've been good. It was weird to do because again, for so long, we've always been, from the draft forward. Like we look at years and we look at hashtag as seasons as well, right? Yes. It's always been the draft forward. So to have a year where we just got to watch the draft as a fan and then like not do 9 hours of coverage around it the day of, it was different. It was, it was refreshing, right? To get a good perspective on it. I think it's important to hit the reset button every now and again. The last thing Mario and I ever want to do is phone it in. Like that's not what we're here to do. We're here to have fun and enjoy each other. And, that's the camaraderie, I think, that makes this channel from the community from the community. And then of course, between Mario and I, like it's good to recharge the batteries and just reset priorities, and it's go time now. So I've been busy. I know you've been busy too, dude.
Oh God, yes. I've been very busy finishing year 17 in the books for teaching and stuff like that. So but it's interesting to see a lot of the dynamics going around, because when you took a step back and you look at all the content that's coming out right now with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, guys, when we started this, we were 12 years into the drought when we started hashtag. Yeah. And we still had 5 more years that we covered this team during drought years. And then when it became fashionable, when they were good, everyone started hopping on it.
Yeah, when it got easy. When it got easy. You know how many years we had to talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick on this channel?
Oh my God.
Yeah, prime Ryan Fitzpatrick.
We had to talk up EJ Manuel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another thing that we want to do, guys, and Paul and I talked this over, we're in agreement fully. We want to make this more viewer central. So, I mean, we got a few of you guys in here. Obviously, we're no longer on the algorithm. I don't know how you guys know how that works and stuff like that, but we want you guys to drive the show as well. So your comments will be read. We're going to get to them. If you guys have any questions, if we're deep into a point, obviously we'll wait till the point's over and then we're going to get to your question. But we want you guys to drive the show as well, because this is as much yours as it is ours, because you guys have supported us for this long. We feel like we need to give back to you guys as well. So that's what a lot of the live shows is going to be driven by you guys. So we'll have the topics, we'll have the things we talk about. You guys want to chime in? By all means, guys.
Yeah, I fully admit Daniel Gary's full on, right? I remember Mario and I, we were in the car covering we were going over quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
And at the time we didn't know who the Bills were going to draft because we filmed everything before the draft, and we were talking about position battles. And this is where we were talking about AJ McCarron being the starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
You was on that train so long.
Oh God, I was on the AJ train for so long. And I remember directly saying, well, it doesn't matter if the Bills draft Josh Allen because AJ McCarron's going to start anyway. And that was a direct quote. That's in the episode. That made it to air.
Paul had a post-it note that said Baker Mayfield no matter what, and I was hot on
Yeah,
Josh
I
Rosen,
did.
who's selling real estate in Arizona right now. Sometimes you swing
But
and you
hey,
miss, guys.
I want to point out, hey, look at this. Christopher Lynch, all the way from the Philippines, watching hashtag tonight. Thanks,
Yes.
Christopher, man.
He
Hey,
came in. He was so
former
excited
teacher.
when we first posted that. So
Yeah.
to the South Pacific. Our reach is far, guys. Our reach is far. Peterman started over Allen. Oh, Shiva, that was a half of fun. I still remember the time that I interviewed Peterman at camp when we got the credentials, and I showed the video to all my buddies, and they go, "Who's the quarterback and who's the interviewer here?" Because I was like, so yeah, I mean, a lot of things going on at One Bills Drive. A lot of stuff that's people are talking about. Recent wedding of Josh Allen. Congratulations to our Lord and Savior, Josh Allen.
Lord and Savior Josh Allen.
And all the jokes that were flying around because of the movie that his wife was
Sinners.
in. Yep, Sinners.
Pretty fun movie. I got full transparency. It's a pretty good movie, right?
Yep.
All jokes aside, it's a pretty good movie. I did enjoy it.
Oh yeah. So guys, like I said, we're on all the socials: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You guys can see all of our stuff there. We're currently revamping a few things as well for the podcast, so you guys can hear this on Spotify and iTunes, as well as we're going to be having a Discord for you guys very, very soon in the near future. So any kind of thoughts, opinions, and stuff that you guys have, we're going to have a running discussion in the Discord. So
for those of you who are technology illiterate, Discord is basically a gigantic group chat.
Yes.
Just a way to think of it, right? It's really just a big, gigantic group chat. So if you love to talk Bills, it's honestly a great place to do it. I know it's used for like a lot of gamers use Discord. There's a lot of channels for that specifically, but for sports talk in a community, it's an awesome way to communicate across the board.
Oh yeah,
because it's just a big message board. Listen, the One Bills Drive message board doesn't exist anymore, right? And the wasteland that was. Or what was it? Two Bills Drive, something like that. There was a big message board out there from forever ago. It was a total wasteland. Our Discord channel hopefully will bring some entertainment to you as well, because it'll be a fun place to talk Bills.
Yeah, and also we're going to be venturing out to different platforms as well. And Paul mentioned, Discord is used by a lot of gamers, but obviously we're going to be using it for sports talk. And one of the things we're going to do as well is we're going to branch out into the NFL as well. So YouTube will house a lot of the Buffalo Bills stuff that you guys know and to enjoy and love from us. But we're going to be branching out, talking about other teams, talking about other situations that go on in NFL, rules, just the whole shebang, basically. And we're going to be broadcasting a lot of that on Twitch. And Paul, would you like to give them the Twitch rundown as well? It's basically just like what we're doing right now, but it's a lot more friendly for us to get the word out and broadcast to you guys. And it's going to be on a different platform. So if you don't want to hear about the Chargers or the Chiefs or the Jets or something, you don't have to tune into those shows. You can just go purely to YouTube. So, but we love the support one way or the other.
I think it's finally time to stop talking about us and start talking about these Bills, don't you think?
These Bills. I came across an article today, Paul. Let's just jump into James Cook. Let's just jump into James Cook.
Hot topic, man. Listen, mandatory OTAs are coming up, so people are nervous.
This was an article, a suggestion given by one Jarrett Bailey of the Sporting News. Very, very interesting article. He said that Cook could possibly be, if he's a holdout, a trade candidate for the Chicago Bears. What do you think, before I even tell you, what do you think the return would be for James Cook?
Well, let's think, right? Because 16 touchdowns last year?
Yep.
Chicago needs the help. Chicago's betting for the Bears specific. The Bears always bet on themselves, right? So I would imagine that it would have to include a first and a first next year and a second the year after that.
Okay. Christopher Lynch says maybe explain the salary cap. We'll get into it on this very topic, though.
Yeah.
He suggests that the Buffalo Bills, if Cook is to hold out, they trade with the Chicago Bears for a 2026 fourth round pick and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, no interest in DeAndre Swift. Like, what are we doing?
I would take that trade tomorrow. I'll take the other point.
Stop.
Tomorrow, Paul.
A fourth.
I'm taking
DeAndre
that.
Swift.
Do you know what Bean could do with a fourth? I'm just saying, like, but just to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown on this, because let me.
This is a loaded gun. Yeah, please continue.
No, it is.
Okay.
DeAndre Swift has 2 more years left. He's 26 and 27. He'll be 26 and 27 playing for the Buffalo Bills. Has $13 million all in base. You know how Bean loves those.
Yep.
He was a former second-round pick out of Georgia.
I was going to say, who cares?
But he's 2 years older than Cook.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to give me a return of a fourth-round pick and 2 years left on this guy who, whatever you can get for him. But here's the deal, Paul. James Cook only played 44% of the offensive snaps last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This could be a perfect way to work in Ray Davis and use Swift sparingly so that he doesn't get hurt or he's not an injury-prone problem. And you get to restructure his contract any way you like. Give him a little bit of bonus. Say, hey, listen, if you're healthy, you like to explain, and you're really, really good at those likely to be earned, not likely to be earned incentives.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that would be built into the contract if they did.
Yeah.
Trade.
So, let's talk about the mechanics of if you were to trade for DeAndre Swift, right? Because you just mentioned everything's all in base salary. So what Mario's saying is basically what's going to happen is when you acquire a player, a lot of times what happens is any signing bonus that they had, the team that trades them, right, has to eat all of that. So a player's really coming over with just future incentives in their deal and then base salary. That's it. One of the nice things about base salary is you can move that money around. You can, put it into signing bonus like Mario had just mentioned. You can turn those into roster bonuses in later years. But the real mechanic is likely to be earned and unlikely to be earned incentives. So people talk about, well, just sign him to an incentive-laden deal. Well, what that really means is you have to sign him to a deal where he's incentivized to hit stats that he didn't hit the year prior. So, like, let's use James Cook as an example. Let's say James Cook has an incentive in his contract to score 15 touchdowns. That incentive would be guaranteed because, and counted against the salary cap, regardless of whether he hit it or not, that incentive is figured into his salary cap number because he had hit that number. He had 16 touchdowns last year. If his incentive was for 15, that means every year that he's got that incentive, that turns into a guarantee. It counts against the salary cap. With DeAndre Swift, if you were to say 10 touchdowns, we didn't have 10 touchdowns last year. So that would be an unlikely to be earned incentive. So that wouldn't count against the salary cap. The only time it would is if he got to 10 touchdowns, it would count against the next year's salary cap. And then, if there were other unlikely to be earned incentives, it could impact those as well. But that's kind of the mechanic that Mario's talking about. So when you hear about incentive deals, remember, it has to be in order to be salary cap beneficial, it has to be for stats that the player hadn't hit in the prior year. So Von Miller is a great player to sign to like an incentive-laden deal because statistically he was so poor last year. You could sign him to a deal at a veteran minimum and sign him to a deal that gives him $1 million at 5 sacks, another $1 million at 7 sacks, another $1 million at 9 sacks. All of that money, even though he may earn it, would never count against the salary cap because statistically he wasn't there the year prior. I hope that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah. And I love when you go into that, Paul. So, like over the cap's a great tool that we use quite a bit. Obviously it'd be a post-June 1st cut now post-June trade if you did it. And, they're not, the Bears really aren't eating much. I mean, they're eating 2.6 of his bonus that's left. And like I said, 13.6 million is tied up in his base salary. So the great thing about trading for a player like that in respect is the fact that if it's all tied up in base, you can cut him at any time for nothing. Like he gets hurt. Okay. Yeah. He's going to have an injury settlement or something of that nature, but that's really what you're going to get. But it was interesting to me, and who put it in the chat?
Shivas, I just want to
Yeah,
congratulate you on the comment of the night so far. Christian Wade, the next Duke Williams.
the next Duke Williams. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for that.
Spin came in and it says, might as well pay Cook and then trade for Swift and take on his deal. The thing is, Cook doesn't want to play here unless he's making $20 million a year, and that's the issue. And I don't understand how that is such a difficult concept when you only played 44% of the snaps.
It's rarefied air. He's trying to. Well, Mario, first off, I don't blame James Cook for trying to take less than 50% snap count and turn it into, his, the legacy contract, right? Like,
Yes.
don't blame him at all. He knows that it will be unlikely for him to hit production numbers like that again.
Just barely 1,000 yards, though. I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah, but with only 44% snaps, right? That's easy to sell to teams. Like, imagine if I played 75% snaps.
Oh, absolutely. Right? For other teams, it does.
Right.
But the Bills obviously know what they have in him, and this is why you cycle those positions like that. And the one thing that is very, very unique that the Chicago Bears have at this point is that they're not paying a quarterback at this point. Williams is still on his rookie deal, but they will be, I think, $5 or $6 million over the cap with 48 on the roster next year. I don't know if they could pay Cook either. Like that's the problem you run into. It's like down the line, the Bears are going, can we even afford him? You know what I mean? Right. But it's such an interesting topic to try to work your way around. So you're saying that nothing less than a second and a first the next year for Cook?
Here's why, right? First off, there's no way, because with James Cook, you can look at it and just say, well, we'll just franchise tag you, right? And then we'll franchise tag you again. And then by that point, we'll be past whether we need you or not. Ray Davis has looked great. So remember, every moment that James Cook isn't here, Ray Davis is getting 1 snaps.
Yeah.
So, and there were times that Ray Davis looked like he could be a competent NFL back.
Absolutely.
Like with a lion's share of snaps. So, every moment that Cook isn't there, he's giving opportunities to a player that's really hungry for it. And that is a dangerous game to play. So
it is,
do I trade Cook for anything less than a first or a second? Well, the reason why is because I don't have to trade him. I don't have to. Why would I trade him?
You could stick him around the bench. Let him gather moss for $5 million.
If he holds out, his contract still stays. So doesn't matter. I still get him next year at the same money, and it just cost him money. So I don't care. He can hold out the whole year.
The thing that gets me in this whole deal. The thing that gets me in this whole deal, Paul, is that the fact is his brother went through this. Literally in your own family, you have the same scenario playing out, and it didn't work out too well for Dalvin. But this is what we're going to do. I understand you try to get your money, and I understand that. But for the production that you've had and the limited snaps that you have had, that's how they're really preserving you longer term for your career, because you're not taking the beating. You're not a Peterson. You're not a Henry. You're not one of these. You're not a Barkley. But he wants to get paid as such, and that's the unfortunate thing. Is he probably thinks that he's more of a McCaffrey type of back, which, I mean, the argument could be made. But his hands aren't as good as McCaffrey's. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, very interesting, thing to talk about and kind of explore. Game-wise, Cook deserves $15 million, but I think it's possible to win without him. I agree. My ceiling for him was 12 because of the limited snap count that he had. But as far as his production on the field, what he brings to the field, I think Cook's production goes down quite a bit if 17's not out there. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Saquon could carry a game. Henry could carry a game. And we've seen them do that. There's a reason.
I don't think James Cook can do that.
No, I don't think he can carry a game. I don't think he can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
With that being said, right? You know how this team loves to turn and burn running backs, right?
All the
at
time.
least the Bean does, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't seen running backs get a contract extension with this organization. So I would believe that Cook and his agent are fully aware of that. right? So they're
Yeah.
trying to posture now to say, look, it's not my fault the organization doesn't pay running backs. And that's their stance. That's not my fault. You know, again, I understand the posturing that's happening, but, you know, I'm good with Ray Davis for now. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm good there. I really am. You know, Ty Johnson looked competent, you know, when needed. So again, I'm probably good at the running back position and not super stressed.
Yeah. When you have your quarterback saying that Ty Johnson is the best third down back in the league, that had
Yeah.
to kind of rub Cook the wrong way as well, because
Well, I mean, I would hope it did. Yeah.
that because if Cook is on the field in a third down situation, you know he's not doing pass pro, and
Mhm.
that's the reason Ty Johnson's in there. He can
Yeah.
catch the ball. He's great at running the ball. He's great for the things that you ask him to do, but Cook is not that pass pro guy yet. And the pass pro guys are the ones that get 15 million a year. Not okay. You could take it 80. How many running backs in the league could take it 80? I believe that a lot of them can.
Mhm.
So that's the issue that we're running into a little bit with Cook and him demanding. If he holds out, you're right. They'll get him for another year. Good. Sit on the bench for a year and see how your value goes. Like, that's not going to be advisable. That's really
yeah,
not
but
gonna be advisable.
winning teams, breed winning players in free agency.
They do.
Whether they
They
go to
do.
a winning organization or not, they don't always bring the winning with them, but they win in contract negotiations, right? Because you have a guy that was very successful, and
You,
this is what happens.
you talk about Kier Elam to Dallas.
Talking Gabe Davis to Jacksonville. That's like the lane I'm taking there, Mark. Like Gabe Davis signs that big ass deal, and I think he got paid $500,000 a catch, is what it turned out to be for the money they gave him. Think about that. $500,000 a catch. That's like near Jamarcus Russell level. Like Jamarcus Russell got paid $75,000 per pass attempt in his NFL
per attempt. Oh my God.
Oh, Mar, you don't remember this. This was in the podcast days.
Oh yeah, I remember. Do you used to come up with some zingers? And Omaha used to just pour stuff out on us all the time.
We used to do 2-hour shows a week, dude. Like,
yeah,
we had a lot of airtime to fill. We talked about the Sabres, for Christ's sake. Like, I remember somebody called in from Indianapolis asking about the goaltender position. I was like, yeah, let's talk about the Sabres, I guess.
2-hour pod. What was wrong with us?
I don't know, dude.
Spin has a great point. So the running backs really don't really do pass pro. I think there were a total of 48 pass pro plays by a running back last year. It was a really small percentage. Yeah, I mean, obviously you got two schools of thought here. I'm more of the old school kind of guys that if you're a 3-down back, you got to pass pro on third down or have the ability to pass pro on third down. Nowadays, third down backs are running flares, they're running Texas, they're doing outs, they're doing a bunch of different things. They're lining up in the slot and stuff. I understand that. I mean, and then you got Paul over here who doesn't believe that the fullback is a legit position in the NFL anymore.
No, it's not. Get him off the team. Sorry, Reggie Gilliam.
Sorry, Reggie, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, sorry, Reggie Gilliam. But listen, the Bills did something interesting. We could talk about the Bills draft maybe in a later episode, but I want to bring up just one like super quick thing. I am so tired of hearing number 70 is eligible for Buffalo. Like I'm so tired of hearing it. So when you can grab Jackson Hawes in the 5th round, and now all of a sudden you just have Lee Smith again, that's fine, right? No more declaring offensive linemen eligible. My heart stops pumping so hard because I want a big man touchdown. I haven't had one in like 3 seasons. Like, I just want a big man touchdown. Who doesn't want to see a big man catch touchdown pass? No. What do we get? We got Josh Allen sets the NFL record for throwing, receiving, and rushing a touchdown all in the same play. Like, so, that's where I just want a big man touchdown. But we get Jackson Hawes. I'm actually thrilled with that because Jackson Hawes, big tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Soft enough hands, right, to be effective, but he's going to be replacing that big tight end with that they were using Anderson for last season. Because there were how many times did they get called for not declaring eligible? Like it happened, I think 4 or 5 times all season.
Did they? I thought they always...
It happened a bunch.
I thought they always had it.
All right. Yeah, it happened a bunch, but those days are behind us now.
Chivas goes, Gabe equals Calvin Benjamin. He's about 25 Popeyes biscuits short of being Calvin Benjamin. Let's put it that way. Let's cook. Corey comes in. Good call. Is Ray Davis or Ty Johnson better than Singletary? I think so. Cook can do whatever he wants. Bills are fine. I like that take. I think that's a great take. But I think
so too.
Okay, for Ty Johnson, I'll give you Ty Johnson. I think it may be a little, the ceiling for Ray Davis, I think, is higher than Singletary's. But as of right now, no, he's not, because he hasn't done enough, I don't think. I like what he's done. I don't think he's just done enough, though. But so I agree with you.
I want to pull back just real quick on that, right? So let's imagine that Singletary and Ray Davis played for different teams and both hit free agency at the same time. So imagine that they entered the league at the same time, right? And knowing what you know, only from Singletary's time in Buffalo and only from Ray Davis's time in Buffalo, Singletary was dead in the water on the free agent market. Nobody was interested in him.
No.
Do you think that Ray Davis would have garnered more free agent looks than Devin Singletary, knowing only what you know of them in Buffalo?
It's weird because of how they both got used. Because we talk about Josh Allen cycling through coordinators. Running backs also did that. So they had to adjust to whatever type of offense wanted to get run by whatever the guy was. So I think that Singletary can do more than he's shown in the NFL. But as far as player to player, what I can do with both of them, I think Davis is faster. I think he's shiftier.
Yeah.
Singletary is more your inside the tackles type of guy.
Yeah, I can think of more Ray Davis broken plays, like make something out of nothing, than I can with Devin Singletary during, a vast majority of his career in Buffalo. Like there were a lot of times where Ray Davis Ray Davis got 7 yards. I don't know how he did it. Right. Yeah. Like there were just a lot of those where Devin Singletary was a bit of a grinder. We talked about Singletary being a volume guy. Right? Like
he had to have a lot of carries. Yeah.
Yeah. He had to have a lot of carries. In the NFL, you don't get that luxury all the time. And that's, I think, what kind of limited Singletary's value on the free agent market.
Great point. Great point by Shivas brought in. O-line was not blocking for Singletary. They didn't have the same lines. They didn't have a consistent line as Davis had.
How dare you talk about Quentin Spain like the man spit in your face?
I thought you were going to bring up Ty Nsekhe. Whoops.
No, we don't talk bad about our elders.
Everyone slams me in the chat. Apparently that's not a rule. All right. So I want to go, another thing I want to do, guys, and I just want to make this very, very clear. We mentioned at the onset of the show, there's a lot of content out there for you to consume. We have done collabs with a lot of the major players in the Bills content creator sphere over the years. You're not sitting here in this game for 12 years and you don't run into a couple people. You know what I mean? So we have done great collabs with a bunch of people, and we would like to do more with them and have some fun and do this and that and the third. There is no animosity. So like if what we're about to do, Dukas, I forgot about Dukas.
And they traded his ass. I don't know how. They
got something for him. They got something for who else did they trade? The right tackle. They traded a right tackle and got something for him too.
Oh yeah, no animosity, and yet you choose Joe.
What? Oh my God.
Coming in heavy, Paul.
Coming in heavy. So here's what I want to do. Like Paul and I just saw this the other day from Fanatics, good buddies of ours. We've done content with them. I just don't want to have a troll go hashtag pulled up your thing the other day on the show. You know what I mean? It's just so stupid. I don't know. Anyway, point is this. There's a lot of content out there. You guys can just pick whatever you want. I thought this was so interesting when they had it up there. Buffalo Fanatics. It was up, let me see, May 31st. So it was a little while ago. Build your Buffalo Bills Super Bowl team with $10. I troll Cody Ford on Twitch sometime. DZ, you are sitting at the head of the table for that one. That is phenomenal.
Who was the center we traded? Was that Russell Bodine?
Yeah.
We traded?
Yes.
Do you know why I know that?
Why do you
know why I remember?
because he was AJ McCarron's boy.
That's right. That's right. You're damn right he was. All right. As you were.
Yes, Bone. Okay, guys, I want you guys to put it in the chat. Like I said, this is going to be driven by you guys too. I want you to put it in the chat. What would be your ideal team? Can I increase this a little bit? It won't get any bigger. I'm sorry, guys. So you have on the $4 line, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. Not in that order. So Josh Allen, Thurman, Andre, and Pete Metzel are your $4 players. You get $10. Okay, you get $10. Second line, $3. You got Kelly, McCoy, Molds, Reamersma. $2. Fitz, Freddie, Stevie, and Chandler. They had that, and it was during the drought.
It sure did. Yeah.
Like that's all $2 players.
Yeah.
And then $1, Tyrod, Cook, Watkins, and Dawson Knox. I'm going to talk to Rico because there's a lot of players missing on this list that should be here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I would put Kincaid on there instead of Knox if I was going to put a tight end on there. But Pete Metzeler's being $4 is like crazy to me.
Right. Right.
Like, look at the heavyweights that are up there. And then you got Pete Metzelers.
And Sammy Watkins?
For $1? Like, if you had to name the top 4 receivers in Bills history,
Sammy Watkins not even on the list.
It's not even on it. Like, no. I don't understand. Traded Bodine to the Pats. Daniel Garis. Thank you, sir.
That's right. That's for a 6th-round pick. Yes, we did.
Yep. Sure. All right. Did. So the first one in, Corey's in first into the queue. Josh, Cook, Molds, and Stevie. No tight end needed.
That's not how that works.
I love the curveball though. That's phenomenal. Oh my God, that's funny. Allen, Jackson, although Cook is better, but it's Freddie freaking Jackson, Molds, and Knox. Ooh, piece of candy. I like that one. Watkins dollar meal. Oh my God, that's phenomenal. Sammy for $1, 1 foot Sammy. The stop, drop, and roll with the Sammy, with good old Sammy. Paul, are you still here? Oh, we lost Paul. He'll be back. Oops. What'd you do to me, Paul? You're crazy. Well, I'll get him on here. There we go.
Hey, there we go. I don't know, dude. Don't look at me.
I don't know why you did it. Josh, Freddie, Molds, and Knox from Daniel Garis. I'd rather have Steve Tasker than Watkins. I'd rather have Don Beebe than Watkins. We're talking about the stop, drop, and roll, Paul. So let me see here. I'm going to put Daniel Garis up there. I love Garis' picks. Paul, you frozen again? Uh-oh. He keeps lagging out, guys. I think it's unanimous with Allen. I think you have to have Allen. I think that's going to be with everybody. I think that's your big meal. If you want to go with Thurman, I guess you can go with Thurman if you wanted to for your $4. But you really can't go wrong with Josh, Freddie, Molds, and Knox as your 4 because that's a good play. The only 2 I would interchange. I would love to see Josh Allen. I would love to see Josh Allen throw to Stevie Johnson. That's a combination that I would have loved to see back in the day. Rather have Evans than Watkins for $1.
Yeah, I mean that's right. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, why not Chris Hogan for $1?
He goes Donnybrook. Peerless Price should be in the dollar bin.
Yeah, listen, there's some, Roscoe Parrish, right? Like, we're just grave digging wide receivers. Roscoe. David Nelson. There's a lot of receivers I'd take for $1.
Truck reviewer. Wait, I want to go to Ian first. Allen, Reed, Cook, and Knox. Ooh. He took $4. He took 2 $4 players and $2 players.
I mean, Cook and Allen work, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, Cook and Allen work.
Yeah. So there's 5 of your dollars. Then you're just taking the middle. What do you want in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Truck reviewer. I would take Josh, Thurman, Knox, and for $0 Tasker.
Yeah, that's right. He's free. That's it.
Paul goes, where's Henry and his 12 kids? That's a great point. Henry on this list would have been
Travis
on there.
Henry.
Yeah.
Travis Henry would have been good. Yeah, I would take, again, like if we're looking at it in the dollar section for running backs, like I get you have Shady, you have Fred, you have James Cook, you got to put him somewhere, right? Like I get how that goes,
Yeah.
but like great Bills running backs, like Travis Henry.
Spin got it. Look, Spin got it.
Yeah, where's OJ?
How's OJ not on this list?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? Because he didn't play in the Super Bowl era? Like he just barely played in the Super Bowl era?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need that killer mentality to get over the hump. Spin, you're on a 30-second timeout.
I mean, you could even make, like, I think the wide receiver list is a bit more egregious than the running back list. Like, I think we could all just accept the running back list for what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, the wide receiver list, I think there's a few, but tight ends.
Oh,
Scott Chandler, wildly overvalued here.
I think was
the shovel celebration really that much?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this list. The more I look at this list, I'm going to talk to Rico already about it. I'm saying this list, when you look at it, who will these people remember that consume this content on Twitter?
Right.
Like literally, who will remember somebody? You're going to remember Sammy. You're not going to really remember This Price, but you got Molds on there. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, what do you got? Molds, Johnson, and Watkins. Like literally, is this the past 10 years? Is this all we're going over, or past 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, you had James Lofton at one point, late in his career, right? You had James Lofton, Lee Evans. Like,
I will say this though: the dollar menu could win 10 games. I think.
I think so.
Today's NFL.
Yeah,
Taylor, Cook, Watkins, and Knox, I think could win 10 games.
Oh, I was trying to think if Tyrod and Watkins crossed paths again with the 14 teams that Tyrod's played for since he left Buffalo, and the 78 teams that have signed Sammy Watkins and then cut him. But they have not crossed paths since, I believe.
Molds to me is the Buffalo version of Andre Johnson.
Yeah, man. I
just stuck with the same team his whole career. Didn't want to leave. I mean,
he was so good.
Yeah. Okay. So did you pick your team, Paul? Did you pick yours? I don't think we got yours.
No, I didn't. I mean, everyone just easily Josh. You got to take Josh. And I refuse to take Sammy Watkins, so that means I cannot take Thurman Thomas as much as I want to. So I'm going to go Josh, Freddie, because that's $6. Andre. Yeah, Josh, Freddie, Andre. And then, I mean, at that point, I guess Knox. I have to take Knox. Yeah.
Josh, Freddie, Andre, and Knox.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'd have to do.
But the $2 bin couldn't win 10. You're right, Corey. They couldn't.
Yeah, right. Right. You know what? Can we just give Fred Jackson a round of applause for how many times they tried to replace his ass?
Oh my God.
So many. They just were not Freddie believers. They drafted the next guy so many times. Right? They were always bringing competition for Fred. Always.
If you guys are older, you'll know this. And Paul's older. And because I've said it to him multiple times.
That doesn't mean I remember. We've been through this. Please continue.
Freddie Jackson of the Buffalo Bills was what Al Davis tried to do to Marcus Allen all the time. He brought in Roger Craig. He brought in Bo Jackson. He brought in guys just to kind of usurp the guy who got 2 Super Bowls for you. And then he never left. He would never leave.
Yep.
Uncle absolutely. Fred is my guy. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely loved him. I mean, you could have made an argument for Marshawn Lynch on the running back list. I saw that. Spiller. Yeah,
what are you
there's
guys
another
doing?
One.
Rico, what the hell?
McGahee. You could have thrown McGahee on there. Forgot about Willis McGahee, didn't you?
We did. Forgot about Spiller.
Yeah.
Paul just put him in the chat.
Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with the running back list, right? I think you put Josh with any collection of those guys, and You get what those guys are capable of doing. Like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
one thing I will say about where this offense is going is they seem less dependent on a guy, and I hope that changes a little bit this year, right? Like
Yes.
I want to see this offense just have a dog at wide receiver and, just will their way down the field. They spread the ball around this year. I think that's a great mantra. I'm ready to move on from that, and I'm patiently waiting to see somebody break out in that wide receiver room and just start dominating games, because that's how dynasties are really built. They're not built by just feeding everybody. Like the Carolina Panthers fed everybody, and one of them was Ted Ginn, right? Like it, yeah, they won 15 games. It was a remarkable run, but the fact of the matter is it wasn't truthfully sustainable. You got to have an alpha dog, right?
Yes.
And I just can't wait for somebody to break out one Bills drive and just be that alpha dog at the wide receiver position. I know they love Mac Hollins, right? But
Yeah.
I'm good to give that roster spot to somebody else.
Yeah.
I have a lot of high hopes for Josh Palmer. I really do. I think
You
this
know what?
offensive Palmer could be dangerous.
I think they wanted Palmer in the draft that he came out, but
They
they
did
just
big time.
yeah. It wasn't one of those things that kind of worked out for him in the end. But it was so interesting to see. Speaking of Paul of dogs, which one do you think will be? And this last segment we're gonna finish up, guys. Maybe about 15 minutes we're gonna cover on this one. We're just gonna go over the roster. Just gonna look at anything stand out to you, anything that's very interesting. Paul had a very interesting take for me today, so therefore I'm going to volley one back to him as far as an interesting take. Question is, does he remember what it is? That's always.
I remember that one, but
So,
I do want to pause just 1 second. If we could just cycle back to the conversation we just had a second ago. You know who got left off the running back list? That is shameful that they were left off the running back list.
This is going to be like a Jabron Hamden of quarterbacks.
No. It's the chat. Look, the chat brought this one, not me. So it was, and
Antoine
Smith, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Antoine Smith, 2-time,
but not with the Bills.
Listen, the double champ does whatever the double champ wants.
You can't make your high school Hall of Fame because you did stuff in college. It's not how that works.
Hey, Shady's a 2-time.
Oh, stop it.
Right? Shady's 2-time now.
He brings that up, which pisses me off. Literally, you did nothing for those championships. You were on the team. You got the ring just like the equipment guy did.
He wasn't even active for those games, I don't think.
One, he wasn't. He was.
All right.
The Tampa one, I think he was. Right. The Kansas City game, he wasn't active. So, I mean, looking at this list, we're going to go over the offense. Later episode, we may go over defense, but both Paul and mine's surprise takes that you guys could take with you on your Thirsty Thursday is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. But offensive side of the ball, Paul, what stands out to you looking at this list that's right in front of you? So I'll just give you a quick breakdown. Gold is who they acquired via trade or free agency. Mm-hmm. Purple is their rookie picks. Aqua is the 2025 undrafted free agents that they picked up, that they signed, and red are injured, which there are none. One important note, if their name is in all caps, those are over 30.
That's interesting how that's done.
I love it.
Nice.
I love
that's
it.
Nice and quick.
Arlaz is phenomenal with that. So interestingly enough, look at this offensive layout that you have for the depth chart that we have through our lads. What stands out to you on that, Paul?
Well, it has fullback listed, so we're going to cross that off for starters. Cross him off then. This guy's dead.
That's so amazing.
So that's where we start. First off, I think it's interesting that they have Dawson Knox listed as TE1. I understand Dalton Kincaid took a step back in production, but as the year went on, but I don't see Knox as being the one there, so I don't necessarily agree with that. lots of changing faces at the wide receiver position, right? You have
Yes.
Shakir, Curtis Samuel, who again is not guaranteed of anything. Laviska
Yes.
Shenault, who's again not guaranteed of anything. Palmer, who is banged up right now. Elijah Moore could be a huge one. You realize
Oh,
people, I think Elijah Moore is one of those guys when brought in, Bills fans go, oh yeah, he's a weapon. If Elijah Moore was on this team last year, he would have been the Bills' leading receiver. Like,
instead of Mac Hollins.
yeah, he would have
Yeah.
led the team in receiving. Like statistically, he would have led the team in
Yeah.
receiving.
You talk about a guy who just was in a very, very unfortunate situation. And
Well, I think he kind of made that bed for
well,
himself.
he did, but I mean, we're talking about a guy who, I mean, Cleveland gets what Cleveland gets because it's Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact is, he was not in a situation where he was going to thrive from the wide receiver position because of the quarterback that was there and the infrastructure. Now he goes to a team that has the reigning MVP on it. So he can actually show what he's capable of. And you think about it, Paul, we've said it many times on this show. Winning cures a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
They were losing a lot, and that
Yep.
sometimes, gets guys down. And but
yeah, I mean, as far as that's concerned, Mar, right, from the offensive standpoint, I thought great comment here by Spin. Dion and Mitch are the only players over 30.
that was my take. God dang it.
Yeah, I know. It's a good one, right?
That was gonna be my take. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Dion
one.
and Mitch, like so you got a very youthful team that is going to hopefully be very coachable by Brady, can buy into the program, see what's going to happen. Everyone's already labeling Shenault as the Chase Claypool of this year. Another guy who probably wasn't in a very wonderful situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be in Carolina. Like it's not where you want to be.
Was that where he was previously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
So,
but Shenault, same draft class as Palmer, right? Like it's another one of those guys that probably was a target. And Shenault did go to Carolina, right? Like I think it's one of those things where we're now seeing the cycle of being like go after guys in free agency that may not be very coveted on the free agent market, but were guys that they were really deep on in the draft and really high on in the draft that maybe they just didn't get a chance to get because you know how things work in the draft. Sometimes you have needs and those take over and you may not be able to move how you want to move to get the guys that you really have circled on your board. But we've had this leadership long enough where they can try and right some of those wrongs that might have been one of the reason Curtis Samuel ended up here. That might be why Josh Palmer is here because I've heard that Bean really loved Palmer in the draft process. Laviska Shenault was another guy, relatively high draft pick, might have been circled on the board as a weapon for them that now is basically free. So we are seeing an era where they can try and run it back with some guys that they were really high on in the draft, in draft profile.
And the beautiful thing about it is it's not like these guys were highly touted free agents that are coming in. These guys were, it's almost like getting rookies again that have played in the NFL. And what I mean by that is they're going to be young and hungry for another contract. Like they're going to have one more after this. That's it. You get one more. That's going to pay you a substantial sum. So it's almost like we talk about all the time. Obviously, you talk about it more than I do. Guys that are on the last year of their deal, they lose their minds. They play out of their minds. They're off. And you couple that because before when we used to do this, Paul, when we started this show, the Buffalo Bills would get players that were on 1-year deals. They would play their tail off and then they would go somewhere else because the Bills weren't winning. They were still in the midst of the drought. Now you have a team that has, other than Kansas City, won more games over the past 5 years than any other team in the NFL, other than Kansas City. And now you're being part of a winning formula. Like they came to get me. They wanted me. They've already won all these games without me. Now they came and got me. And what could I do to forge my little thing in here? Because you even said it yourself, Paul. If the Buffalo Bills would have went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, a former player that's on a contract year that is a former Super Bowl champion carries so much weight in the NFL when negotiating deals
Yep.
than anything ever. You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys, like Spence said, Trubisky and Dawkins are the only guys that are 30 and over. You got all these young players in there. But I think Aaron maybe brought up a great point. I put it on. He said, when do we start looking for a replacement for Dion? You know, that'll be drafted, I think, in the first round. I think that'll be the next first round pick that the Bills.
They're kind of committed to Dion for quite some time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's, you know, like lest we forget, right? Dion was a second round pick. He was projected to be a guard, moved to tackle, right? Like that's really the talk, right? Was that he was projected to be a guard.
He's still a guard to you.
Well, no, and they did the same thing with Spencer Brown, you know, like a guy, tons of physical attributes. We'll see if he can play tackle, right?
Yes.
Like, so this is what they do. And they've locked Dion down and they've locked Spencer down. They're not going to move off of that for another couple of years. And when they do decide to do it, you're going to see the same bag of tricks that we saw before, signing guys to 1-year deals.
Yes.
Williams just a couple of years ago. What was his first name?
I can't remember right now. I'm drawing a blank myself.
Because he played tackle for the Bills when they I think it was when they drafted Spencer Brown. And and it was just a reclamation project, right? On a 1-year deal reclamation project. And then the Bills are going to continue just to draft tackles every year. They draft tackles every year and just in case, right? Like just in case.
Chase Lunt. Yep. You got him right there in the 6th. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Mike Williams? No, it wasn't Mike Williams. Spin.
No.
Jesus. No.
It was. I'm trying to think of his name. When would he have played? 2019?
No, it was more recent than that. I think that was like 2021.
I'm gonna try to find it. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, looking at the roster, Darrell Williams.
That's right.
Darrell Williams.
Yeah. Was I right in 2021?
I looked up 2020 and I found it.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I accept your apology.
You're welcome. The thing that we have to try to figure out here is that I mean, the Buffalo Bills with the receiving core that they had last year, it's obviously upgraded, but it wasn't the flashy bells and whistles that most Buffalo Bills wanted. Like you talk about an alpha dog.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. So what, and we've had this argument quite a bit. Do you want one big alpha dog or do you want 3 2s? Because you're not going to have 3 2 corners on the other side of the ball. And that's going to be very, very interesting. To me, until he retires and then he's then enshrined in the Hall of Fame, Osiris Torrance is, other than Josh Allen, one of the best draft picks that he's had on this offense. Literally, you never heard his name last year, Paul. The kid stayed there for 17 games, playoff games, everything else, was an animal in there. You are not you're not a big fan of the offensive linemen, are you, Paul?
Yeah, they make fat guys every year, Mario.
They do, but not to that caliber.
That boy's got some legs on him, doesn't he?
He's a first-round guard, and we don't say that lightly. You know what I mean? That was taken in the 2nd round. Yeah. Bobby Hart, stop it. You're on the wrong show.
Yeah, right. Right.
Save that for Mike.
Yeah, save that for my Apex.
I'm gonna miss Hollins's personality more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be as funny when the Patriots win 6 games, and he's doing whatever he's doing over there. It's not gonna be as cool. It was unique because it came out of nowhere. Journeyman.
He literally he totally got the vibe of the Bills really quick and was like, I can add to this. Let's have some fun. So right. Paul, I have my one little sleeper thing that we're going to throw at everybody. We got about 5 minutes left. You have your little sleeper thing. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
I'll go first. Okay. if he's not moved to safety, Trey White will not make this roster.
Ooh.
That's my hot take. If he's not transferred over to safety to play next to Taylor Rapp, he will get cut. He'll be one of the cuts.
Is this because Dane Jackson got to wear Micah Hyde's number this year?
Does he have 23?
Hyde gave, yeah, he made sure it was okay with Hyde. Hyde said it was
Oh
okay.
my God. Dane Jackson, I would put at slot behind Taryn, but that's another story. Just that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
That's a horrible hot take. Thank you, Spin. I know it's going to resonate then.
Well,
no, because
tell me why. Tell me why.
Listen, here's the thing, that the misconception that people have about Tre'Davious White. And let me just put it out there really quick. He was never a speed corner that was going to lock down the fastest guy on the other team, the wide receiver. He was a very physical corner. Guy came out of LSU. That's what they are. They're physical corners. He would lock up the guy that was the most physical receiver on the other team. When he got injured, Paul and I didn't really worry that much because like he's never covering the fastest guy on the field anyway. So he can recover from this and he could be okay. And then he got hurt again. That's not really conducive to this, that, and the third. I don't think his shelf life as a corner anymore works. They obviously picked him over Elam because of the IQ that he has and the knowledge he has of this defense. That's something that Elam could never get. Putting him at safety in front of DeMar Hamlin is a better choice while Bishop's learning everything than going with DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp again. And we always talk about time on task. Like, we watched this team for a while. I don't think Cole Bishop immediately gets the start over Hamlin because Hamlin started last year. But if White's there, he'll definitely get the start over Hamlin. But I think his shelf life as a corner, with the addition of Dane Jackson as well, I don't see him as a corner on this team.
I mean, his contract doesn't dictate that he has to stay, right?
That's true.
So
That's
contractually, true. You make a good point, right? The fascinating thing is that Tre'Davious White is still showing dead cap money from when they released him the first time. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
When you see,
and I know it's already been said that he's not going to move to safety, and they've already said that, but they say a lot of things and then they change their minds. But
yeah. I mean, I understand why you feel that way, right? Because aging and slower corners, that's the move that you typically make, right? That's the move that you make to stay relevant and to keep your career going. Totally understand that perspective. I think when, you got Christian Benford, he's your one, right? Like at this point, Benford's your one. You're really looking for CB2 to CB3 play out of Trey White. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with Trey as a CB3. If he and Dane Jackson just kind of sissy slap each other for CB2, CB3 duties, I think you're in a fine position there. So I do disagree with you a bit. But with that being said, the safety position to me, I believe Cole Bishop probably starts, right? He played really well as the stretches went on, right? As he was asked to play, he made some mistakes. I think they're going to be okay with a healthy Taylor Rapp and allowing Cole Bishop to play, right? Like I think they probably just make that move because I can't sit through another season of watching DeMar Hamlin not know what to do. I just can't do it.
I go on history, Paul. And we're going to get to yours really quick, and then we'll head out of here. Cole Bishop is currently on the depth chart from our lads. I know it's not 100%, but he's behind Rapp. Rapp has shown that his physical play sometimes knocks him out of games. So you need another safety back there.
Yeah.
So far, you have DeMar Hamlin. They drafted Jordan Hancock, Cam Lewis, and they got Derek Forrest.
Cam Lewis isn't a real safety. But
that's what I'm saying. Safety. And you got Derek Forrest from Washington. You got a rookie, free agent, and Cam Lewis behind Rapp, Cole Bishop, and DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, You signed Tre'Davious White and then drafted a corner in the 5th round. That's the telling sign for me. They always, how many times did they pick up a running back 2 weeks before the draft on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, and then they draft a running back?
Right. Yeah, I know exactly who you're going to reference here. I know exactly. Remember,
TJ?
Remember when they signed TJ Yeldon?
No,
yeah,
but that's what I'm going off of patterns here that they do all the time.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
If Trey White moves to safety, he has a better shot at playing time than he does at corner. Because I think Hairston's going to start on the other corner. Dane's going to come in. Jamarcus Ingram showed flashes last year. I think he's going to be really good. But that's my take, guys. I'm sorry. Thanks for making an appearance. See you in another 4 months. Shut up, fetus.
So my hot take is that at some point, Von Miller will play for the Buffalo Bills this year. So there was a quote recently that came out from Von that I thought was really interesting. And there's a lot you can do here. And I know people are going to say, well, Paul, what the hell are you thinking? But here's why I say what I say. Von Miller recently said that he had a conversation with Brandon Beane and he said, listen, just put a number down and I'll sign it. Whatever it is, I don't care. I just want to play. I want to play here. The money doesn't matter. Just put a number down. I'll sign it, whatever it is. The problem is that they had reworked Von's contract so much, they had to get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So just reworking the deal again wasn't really possible. So they got out of it. Now, Von is a professional. He knows what he's doing here. He's not going to want to go to a team like Jacksonville or the Jets or the Bears to hunt for one more season. He wants a ring.
Yep.
He wants a ring. And Mario, why does he want a ring?
Because there have been no defensive ends in the history of the game that have won a Super Bowl with 3 separate teams.
Right. Yeah. And I think he knows that Buffalo is his best shot, right? Mm-hmm. He can walk in, play, maybe be a 3rd down pass rusher, a la Bruce Irvin, Dwight Freeney, like just very specialized role. Now, you can't pay him a whole lot. You don't have the money to pay him, and I don't think he's worried about the money.
No.
But with that being said, you also don't want him taking up a roster spot right now.
No.
There's absolutely no benefit to having him on your roster right now. Zero benefit. You're taking away an opportunity for a younger player to be in camp. There's no reason for that. And Mario, you and I both know that there's going to be 2 starters who aren't on their their game day roster. And why are they going to be 2 defensive players short on their game day roster?
Because they're both suspended.
They got 2 guys suspended.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the best way around this, right, is you make your 53-man roster. Those 2 guys are going to go on. Those 2 guys are going to be suspended. Right. At that point, you could sign Von to your practice squad.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you sign? And then you just elevate him. Keep elevating him until that's not an option anymore. Like, the fact of the matter is you sign 2 guys who aren't eligible to play for you for the first 6 weeks of the season. So you do actually have an avenue for Von to play in Buffalo. And you put him on the practice squad, still with the team, right? Just not going to be active every game. Kind of used to that. There's no difference to you here, right? There isn't. There's just no difference to you. And you're not committed to him there either, right? If he decides he wants to leave, you could just let him go. There's no financial repercussions for that. The one thing I will say, though, is veterans who are vested veterans and are on a roster as of week 1 have their contracts guaranteed.
Yes.
So that is something to be aware of, that any veterans who are vested, that's more than 4 years in the league, have their contracts fully guaranteed. So that's why in season you don't see teams really cut players. That one of the reasons is because
you already paid for them.
You already paid for them, right? Yeah. So something to just be aware of. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think there's a big avenue for it to happen, especially since you have 2 guys that aren't even going to be eligible for the first 30% of the season.
I like it. Von Miller is on this team, and Trey White's not. Mm-hmm. We're coming back throwing heaters, Paul.
No, they both want to be here, man.
I know.
Right? They both want to be here.
I'm glad Trey's back.
Me too.
I liked Trey for a long time, but you started to see the decline.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wants to, I'm just saying, we've seen it in the NFL quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player. At one point, could have been the defensive player of the year if they didn't give it to Gilmore
Yeah.
in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Had some injury problems. I think nobody knows this defense better than he does, even with Babbage coming in and putting his little spin on it. So what the defense lacked last year was that back end brain to get everyone directed in the right direction, or put everyone in the right direction, right spots. And that's what Hyde and Poyer did that was so overlooked, was the fact that they got everybody in the right spots. And I think Trey can do that for you back there.
Mm-hmm.
And show you how it's supposed to be done. Because remember,
Right.
Bishop wasn't here when Hyde and Poyer played.
No.
So he doesn't know how it's supposed to look.
Mm-mm. Nope.
So obviously neither did
Hamlin.
that torpedo Taylor Rapp. Hamlin was here. And the fact that he doesn't know how to do it is frustrating to me.
You and I
Don't do
talked off air about that.
We're not ready to do that yet. But we're not ready to do that yet. But
No.
like I said, guys, hashtag Nation, listen, we're back. We're going to be doing some lives. You guys are going to see some episodes throughout the week again. Once we get everything tied up, we're going to have a Discord. We already have our socials and everything else that we have. We are going to be doing more chat-centric lives. So you guys, we've been throwing your stuff on the screen. We've been answering your questions. We've been doing this and that and the third. We're going to try to get to every one of the comments that you guys have. It's going to be kind of hard, but we're going to try to do it because you guys have been with us as we go into season 13 of Hashtag Sports. Me with this guy over here. Crazy. It's not getting put. Yeah, that's upsetting, dude. Seriously.
Yep. Hey, listen, you can, Mario, we're like heterosexual life mates at this point, right?
Are you another Ace and Gary reference?
It's classic. What are you talking about?
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, it's classic.
Sometimes you don't get a brother that's in your family, but you get them along the line somewhere. So,
true story.
More content to come, guys. That is Mr. Paul, aka Ranch. You guys know who I am. You don't care who I am. I got the guy with the stupid hats, according to Gary's. But we're going to be out of here. Hope you guys have a great Thursday and the rest of your week, and have fun.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America, and go